All right, y'all. So listen. So this is part two to the. This is part two, which is continuing the last video that I did with Pluto through all the houses. So in the first video, I did Pluto through houses 1 through 6, and in this video, we finna cover 7 through 12. But we got to give y'all a quick rundown of what Pluto means in and of itself, real quick. You know what I'm talking about, so y'all can get up. So go watch the first video, but I'm going back over it again in this video, so y'all can just already know. Because some people might be doing crazy shit. They have skipped the first video, come right there. So I'm just saying this shit. Listen, go watch the first video and come back. But now, so the Pluto influences in your chart, right? So now listen, wherever Pluto, and this is from my last video too. I had to copy and paste it from my other video and put it back on here. But wherever Pluto is located in your birth chart, it shows you where you may experience intense transformation and power struggles, right? Pluto works in the background of your life, often triggering significant change that feels uncomfortable or destabilizing, but ultimately leads to growth, renewal, and strength. So now Pluto is about confronting the shadow aspects of your psyche, y'all. Real talk, the unconscious desires, fears, and hidden motives. You know what I'm talking about? Just all the shit that kind of really shape your life without you really truly being aware of them, right? So this Pluto energy in and of itself is like this, it's this deep darkness inside, right? And like I said, in tropical astrology, they claim that Pluto was the actual new ruler of Scorpio, even though that's not official in any, like, you know what I'm talking about, text that I know of. But I'm also with modernizing astrology as well. So I use these planets like Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus. I use all that shit inside of in Vedic astrology. And no, I'm not no tropical Vedic astrologer where I use tropical Rashis and I use what tropical zodiac signs with the Vedic nakshatras. No, because they say, well, this oldest book called the Sirius Adanta, which is an astronomical text, not a purely astrological text. It states that in the beginning that the zodiac is actually formed with the equinoxes and not the stars, right? But what they don't tell you is this: is that they don't use the Sirius Sedanta alone itself to erect birth charts or horoscopes, right? They got this other concept called serenity. So, and what it does is it adjusts and fine tunes the information from the astronomy part. You know what I'm talking about? And then you somehow it's 4 parts to make a horoscope. Sirius and Dunta is just one, right? You see what I'm saying? But I want everybody to understand it. For y'all Vedic tropical people who love that shit, I got something for y'all. But now let's get into it. So now let's scroll. Let's scroll through. So now when Pluto goes into the actual seventh house, right? So the themes are partnership, marriage, relationships, one-on-one dynamics. So basically, when Pluto is in the seventh house, what it's gonna do a lot of times, especially if your seventh house already kind of damaged, more intense transformative experiences in relationships, right? So power struggles, need for control with one-on-one connections, because remember, this is the new ruler of Scorpio, right? So it's just kind of latching on, kind of, you know what I'm talking about, taking control of energy, real shit. So now, and it also can attract, you know what I'm talking about, obsessive partnerships as well, right? Because this is still that like kind of, and stalkers too. Even stalkers in relationships, real shit. And individuals who may face crises or challenges that force them to grow in their relationships, right? So now the focus is on emotional and psychological bonds, and the individual may feel the need to change or save others through their relationships, right? Because at the end of the day, Scorpio is still a healing sign. A lot of people don't know how to use it in its highest aspect, right? So if we take their Pluto dynamic and match it with the Scorpionic dynamic, the highest manifestation of Scorpio is to turn you into a phoenix or turn itself into a phoenix, right? So that's, and I'm gonna do a video about the phoenix and shit too. But so you gotta remember, this is why you can heal people in these one-on-one relationships, right? You know what I'm talking about. But if you keep having them, you got to stop the obsessive tendencies and all that crazy shit in order to even get to doing that. Is what I'm trying to say. So now Pluto in the eighth house, right? So the themes: death, transformation, shared resources, sex, and deep psychological matters. Now, which I gotta understand is this shit about that. This is the actual new home of Pluto, basically, in a more modernized context, right? So now Pluto naturally rules the eighth house, so it feels at home there, right? So this placement emphasizes themes of transformation, regeneration, and deep psychological processes, right? You know what I'm saying? Of life, death, and rebirth. So people that's gonna have Pluto in the eighth house probably gonna go through major transformation experiences that force them to confront their fears. Y'all, everybody goes through transformational things, but not everybody, you know what I'm talking about, confronts their fears, right? Real shit. control issues, and hidden aspects of the psyche. There may be power dynamics and sexual relationships, shared resources, and other people's money. The eighth house also deals with emotional bonding and intimacy, and Pluto here can complete authenticity. So let's talk about the shared resources part. That in the man, listen, I think I said something about that shit in my second house. I think I said, but you gotta remember, this shit is now going into the eighth house. That obsessive tendency, you could really mess around and attract a gold digger man or a gold digger woman, real shit. Like women, let's say, for instance, if you got Jupiter and Pluto, uh, for like a Aries ascendant, we your Jupiter and Pluto is inside of Scorpio for Aries ascendant in Vedic astrology. Man, listen, that shit sound that shit sound awful. I'm not gonna cap. That shit sound terrible. Yeah, I promise I ain't gonna cap because it's good. You gotta remember your husband energy is already in the house that kind of like pulls extract resources from other people right now. Could it be you? Possibly, depending on where Mars is at. You know what I'm talking about? If Mars going to your second house of finances, you damn right they're gonna be taking money from you specifically. But now let's scroll down. So now Pluto in the ninth house, right? The themes: higher education, philosophy, travel, religion, and belief systems. So when Pluto goes to the ninth house, it's going to indicate profound transformation in one's belief system and philosophy and worldview, right? Because remember, that's still deep transformative nature, right? It's still in a modernized context, the ruler of Scorpio from the tropical astrology standpoint, right? So there may be a desire to seek deep truths and a powerful urge to explore foreign cultures or spiritual realms, right? So this placement can signify intense experiences while traveling or studying abroad, right? Or may even lead to powerful, life changing ideas related to philosophy, religion, or higher education. Individuals may challenge and transform the belief system they were raised with. So what does this mean? This mean like you could be a person that is living in like let's say like Mississippi or some shit, right? I'm talking about like a small ass Mississippi town, and you take a trip over there to China, and it just changed your life, right? Because you got to remember, you're taking this psychological transformative energy, and now you're placing it in your house of wisdom and travel, right? So you probably get more wiser the more that you travel, right? Or when you get to the travel destination, the mind starts to expand even more because remember, the ninth house is still originally the house of what? Um, of Sagittarius and Jupiter. I always understand that shit. So it's always a possibility, you know what I'm talking about, for like just going somewhere suddenly and you know what I'm talking about, or even just studying. Like people say, man, I live in America all my life. I just want to travel abroad. Like when them kids get out of like high school. I want to go to college overseas. I want to go to I forget what the fuck that was. Chamberlain. I don't know. It's some school. I hope I'm saying it right. Some shit overseas or whatever. But y'all know what I'm saying. Studying abroad, living abroad. You might go to Thailand and just never want to come back on your own, right? But the philosophy, but it's really important when it comes to the philosophical nature, because Pluto in this house gonna make y'all ass start asking deeper questions, right? You see what I'm saying? Now, Pluto in the 10th house, right? The themes: career, public life, authority, and reputation. So when Pluto is in the 10th house, it points to a powerful drive to succeed and make a significant impact in the world. These individuals often express these transformations in their career or public life. They may be drawn to positions of authority or may find them in situations where they must confront power dynamics or control issues with authority figures. So this placement can lead to a deeply transformative public persona with the urge to leave a lasting legacy or influence on the world. Real shit. So what you got to remember, I'm gonna give you a prime example who did that. Then Trump. Correct me if I'm wrong, but then Trump, when he first got into office a while ago, then he kind of like highlight that it was a shadow government aspect. You see, I was a person that has strong power and try to expose other corrupt power components in the actual whole power system. Real shit. So what you got to understand is that but now, well, another thing with control issues as well, right? This can be leaders who get so much power that they start to abuse it, right? Because remember, this still is working off this eighth house psychological Plutonian energy, right? So what you got to understand, this gonna be a person that probably love to take control from the minds of people, right? So in a career sense, this could also be somebody who deeply tied to psychology, right? understanding people's mind, understanding the way people work, right? So real shit, and this especially if like your 10th floor is sitting with Pluto in the actual 10th house. Oh yeah, you definitely gonna you ain't gonna be really shit to play with it all, right? But since since it's also your reputation, you could also have a more darker aspect when it comes to how people see you. Real shit. So now Pluto in the 11th house, right? These ideals, right? So when Pluto's in the 11th house, it creates powerful, transformative experiences related to social groups, friendships, and collective ideals, right? Now, so these individuals may be drawn to groups or causes that aim to bring about deep change in society. Friendships can be intense and transformative with power struggles or issues around control within social circles. They may also experience profound shifts in their hopes, dreams, and visions for the future. So now, this placement can often point to a desire for change or transform society through collective action. Now, what you got to understand is this is because you got to remember Pluto is coming into the 11th house of friends, right? And but it also rules money and gains and wealth too. We ain't gonna cover that part. We're gonna just cover the group dynamic part. It means that you probably got friends that you feel like you can make a difference with. This could be you going to them and, hey man, listen, I got an idea that we can do this, that, and the third. And you know, it's about something that can really transform y'all life forever. Coming to you with some money deals, you know, it's about business propositions, all type of shit, right? You know what I'm saying? And then this 11th house is still the natural ruler, the natural house in the traditional zodiac of a ruler of Aquarius, right? So Aquarius is the sign of the humanitarian, right? So this could be Pluto, you know what I'm talking about? Now, so what you got to understand is that if you have a negatively impacted Pluto, you could be a person that also destroys shit, right? And thinking you being a humanitarian. I'm gonna give you a prime example. You got people who think they're humanitarian by keeping the land safe. Then you got other people who think they're humanitarian by tearing down that land to build houses and malls and shopping centers and infrastructure in cities, right? So both of y'all think that y'all actually help on the earth. You looking at it from a more um, I would say, moral, humanistic, you know what I'm talking about, standpoint, like, no, this the earth, this is our grounding place, right? I'm trying to make sure we still have some left, even hundreds of years in the future, thousands of years in the future. While this other person, like, listen, I'm trying to modernize and revolutionize the world, right? So you see, it really could go either way. That's how you gotta look at that shit. Now, for the last one, so Pluto in the actual 12th house, right? So now the theme, subconscious, spirituality, isolation, hidden matters. Now I got this shit in my birth chart. My Pluto's in my 12th house, Scorpio. I'm a sad ascendant to y'all. So y'all can already, with me being a sad ascendant in Vedic astrology, you can already, and for those y'all who love Western, I'm also a Capricorn ascendant in Western astrology. But now, so in Pluto, then the 12th house is going to point to a deep psychological process of transformation, right? So now people with this placement are highly intuitive, which is me, may experience intense and inner struggles in their unconscious mind, hidden fears or past traumas. Somewhat me for real, you said. So now there's a strong need for spiritual or psychological healing. And these individuals may undergo profound personal growth by confronting their subconscious patterns. And that's what I do, right? That's why I got into astrology. I wanted to understand about everybody else, but primarily about me. You got to remember, this is coming into my subconscious. No, it's not. So I'm seeking, you know what I mean, that certain enlightenment when it comes to radically changing who I am by understanding who and what I am, right? Real talk, especially when me being a Sagittarius, the whole life purpose already being about higher knowledge and higher wisdom. Oh, yeah. And now the 12th house is also about personal growth, right? So by confronting their subconscious patterns, the 12th house is about personal growth, right? By confront, well, I already did so, no. But the 12th house is also about solitude, isolation, and hidden matters, right? So Pluto can bring intense experiences with confinement, institutions, or situations that force an for a person like me being isolated, I'm still a deep thinker, right? And now, being isolated is good for a little while. Sometimes it can get overbearing, but the thing about it is, one thing I can say, just being isolated and being a deep thinker, one or two ways. Mine has been going in a positive way, though. You know what I'm saying? See more of life for what it really actually is, right? Because Pluto's in the house of subconscious depth now. You know what I'm talking about? Because you got other people who can sit alone by themselves with just their thoughts and isolated, and they might want to hurt themselves, right? But that's not always the case with everybody. Like me, for example, I sat alone with all this shit, and I'm just like, damn, it really lead me to light and view to where now I can understand how life works, so I don't have to walk around angry and it's like that. That's why these Pluto placements really matter, right? So now listen and listen. So go watch my other video and watch all my videos so you can learn some shit. And listen, this is my link to my actual social medias, right? Oh, you scroll down right here. Y'all see that shit? Inferno Rex, Rex Angel Count, or what the fuck that know it was. Rexkainn, TikTok Revelation Kain. Real talk. So y'all scroll back up, take a look. Make sure y'all understand this shit. And make sure you understand this too. Is that planets make sure I understand this shit too. These are just the basic meanings that I typed out personally. You gotta understand if you have another planet sitting with Pluto or aspecting Pluto, it could also alter what see this is Pluto by itself in these houses, right? But what about Pluto and Jupiter in the seventh house? What about Pluto and Venus in the seventh house? What about Pluto and Rahu, Pluto and Ketu, Pluto and Sun, Pluto and Mars? So you see, it can drastically alter that shit. I want people to understand that shit. This is just a raw by itself energy, right? Real talk. But yeah, y'all. So now listen, if y'all want your birth chart read, man, listen. This is the best page to contact me on. Inferno Rex. These are the best pages to contact me on. But Rex Angel Kain is my secondary Facebook page. But Inferno Rex and the Rex came with two N's and TikTok the best. And I got plenty, like 200 reviews. And y'all